Children, today we are going to discuss about the world between wars. In this chapter, we are going to discuss elaborately about Russian socialistic revolution. Children, as far as the historians considered, Russian socialism was influenced so many revolutions across the world. Especially Indian nationalist movements also influenced by the Russian socialistic revolution. Let us discuss about what was happened during this time in Russia. What were the reasons behind the Russian socialistic revolution? Children, Russia was having a vast land, mass spread across the two continents. It had the third largest population in the world. That is, 156 million people were there in Russia. As many as 15 crore 60 lakhs people. Those were all. After China and India, Russia was biggest population having at that moment. Children, it comprised the several nations like Russia, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, etc. However, livelihood of the Russia was derived from the agriculture, but control over the land was the basic cause for the struggle between the peasants and feudal lords. During this time, Tsar Nicholas II became the emperor of the Russia. Remind you, children, he was the last Tsar who ruled the Russia. But Russian economy was ruined by the World War I. Russian army was the largest army in the world while World War I was going on. But due to the policies of Tsar Nicholas II, Russia had lost as many as 2 million soldiers while World War I was going on. Russia has diverted its food to the war front. So food shortage was taking place across the Russia, especially in cities. Remind you, children, here the Saint Petersburg is nothing but a Petrograd. Petrograd was the old name of Saint Petersburg. These women across the Saint Petersburg demanded a bread and peace. During this time, laborers also joined with these women. So the last Tsar of Nicholas II ordered the army to suppress the demonstrators, even by firing on them. Instead, the poor soldiers joined the demonstrators. So Tsar abdicated the throne and he fled away. So here in Russia, in St. Petersburg, a provisional government was established. This was led by the Menshevik. This was known as the first phase of Russian Revolution, which was also known as a March Revolution. Another phase of Russian Revolution, which was taken place in October, so that this revolution was regarded as the October Revolution. This time, a bigger revolution was taken place in October in 1917, but it was not spontaneous. Here, the provisional government, which means a Menshevik government, was established after the Russian Revolution. Want to continue the war, whereas the common people did not want. So they began organizing themselves in councils. These councils were called as Soviets. Remind you, children, these Soviets, which means councils, were in the form of different categories. Soldiers councils were there, which means Soviets were there. Industrial workers councils were there. Industrial workers Soviets were there. People in rural areas also, they organized some Soviets. These Soviets were all organized by the one party. That party name was Russian Communist Party, which was also known as a Bolsheviks party. Bolsheviks were led by the Lenin. Remind you children, Lenin original name was Vladimir Lenin. He was also known as a Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov. Bolshevik were won the confidence of the Soviets. So, Soviets under the leadership of the Bolsheviks seized the power from the provisional government, which means the Menshevik government. It was called as a Russian Revolution. It was called as a October Revolution. But peace could not restored here in Russia. Why means between 1918 to 20, a civil war was broken out in Russia. In the civil war, white armies, which means Russian monarchist army, and anti-communist soldiers, which means these soldiers was led by the Britain and France. These are all together fought against the Red Army. The Red Army was led by the Bolsheviks. Especially Trotsky was encouraged this Red Army. Even though most of the former Tsarist Empire nation agreed to join in the Russia. So in 1924, Soviet Socialistic Republics were joined. Soviet Socialistic Republics, which means Union of Socialistic Soviet Republics, were established in 1924. Meanwhile, Lenin was passed away. So Stalin was emerged as the great leader during this regime, and he became the Communist Party leader. So let us discuss about rise of Stalin. He used his undisputed power to build the economy of USSR. Remind you children, he introduced the first 5-year plan in 1928 in Russia. Even if he introduced the first 5-year plan, he introduced the twin policy. First policy is rapid industrialization, second one is collectivization of agriculture. In the context of rapid industrialization, he constructed so many factories, especially at Magnitodes. He constructed a biggest industry, which was iron and steel industry, which was completed within the 3 years. Even he conducted a collective farms. This was introduced by Stalin, as you know. During this time, an extended schooling system was developed in Russia. Creches were established in factories for the children of working women. Cheap public health care was provided across the Russia. Enormous education institution was established. So Russia was, became the greatest power in that time during this regime. Even Russia was greatly escaped from the Great Depression during this time. Whereas across the world, especially in Western world, the countries were ruined by the Russian Great Depression. But Russia was greatly escaped from the Great Depression. This experience of USSR inspired the people all over the world. Even children, our great statesmen like M.N. Roy, Tagore, Nehru was greatly inspired. Of course, some criticism was also there about Russian Revolution, about Russian Revolution consequences. George Orwell, he wrote a satiric novel on Russian, arena. That novel name was Animal Farm. So hopefully this great revolution has inspired you as I